Hey, y'all, it's your favorite Unc. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to Nightcap YouTube channel so you never miss a single live stream or video of myself, Ocho, and Gil. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you. Patrick Mahomes Sr. was arrested and charged with his third or more DWI. Mahomes Sr. was arrested on DWI charges multiple times over the last 12 years, 2012, 2018, 2019, and a recent arrest over the weekend. Mahomes was arrested for his second driving while intoxicated charge in 2018, served 40 days sentence, and he served those over the weekend. The news come a week before his son takes the field in Super Bowl LVIII. How do you expect young Patrick to handle this distraction?
I mean, this is not a distraction. This is not a distraction. It's something that he's dealt with before. His father has had 2 other issues, and it hasn't affected his play on the field. And when
next to this, right before the Super Bowl, now they're gonna ask him.
Yeah,
media day.
Oh yeah, but he ain't paying that no mind. He ain't paying that no mind. Even if they do ask him, we talk about a 2-time Super Bowl champ, one that will never be rattled. That's been in the highest of situations. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. Again, it's unfortunate, especially for your father to not learn from the past 2 times.
Yeah, that's what's
the mistakes he's made. And as a father, I would think you would, at this point, you want to get an Uber. Yeah. You want to get an Uber. If you're inebriated, if you're drinking, if you're consuming alcohol, if you're out somewhere, don't even drive yourself. Have a driver. Obviously, you have a son that we already know that is completely well off. Talk to your son. Pat, have a talk with dad. Listen, Pops, if you want to go out, if you want to have fun, let me get a car service for you. Let me get a driver for you. That's really nothing, to make sure issues of this extent don't happen again. I think that's something that they should do going forward so they don't have to deal with this again, because obviously it's a stain on the family. And it's not going to affect Pat on the field, but off the field, having to deal with the media, having to deal with the scrutiny, having to deal with everyone in their personal family business it's a bad look.
Anytime someone in the family becomes more prominent, high profile, everybody have to move differently. Patrick Mahomes Sr., your son is Patrick Mahomes Jr. You can't move the same way you once could. You just can't. Ocho, I understood that my brother now was Sterling Sharpe, and he's the 7th pick in the NFL draft of the Green Bay Packers. All that trifling stuff that I wanted to do or that I was doing before, I couldn't do it anymore. Because they're going to say the younger brother of all-pro Packer receiver Sterling Sharpe, Shannon Sharpe, was arrested. Or, come on, Patrick Mahomes Sr. I mean, clearly he has an issue. I mean, there's no other way around it. And I hope hopefully he gets that resolved and not put himself, because he lucky. Because remember, Andy Reid's son had a DWI 3 days before the Super Bowl 55, crashing into a broken down car on the roadside, and the crash left a 5-year girl in a coma for 10 days, and she permanently disabled.
Oh, my goodness.
And so like I said, a lot of times people think, well, it was just a DWI, nobody was hurt. But how many times have we heard situations where people was hurt? Henry Ruggs, alcohol, driving at a high rate of speed, slams into a car doing over 120 miles an hour. She's dead. His NFL career, he's in jail. Leonard Little, I think Leonard Little, involuntary manslaughter. The Rams.
Wait, Rams? Yes. Little from Florida?
Yes.
From Florida?
Vehicular homicide. Dante Stallworth.
I forgot. I don't even remember these situations.
I just hate that he put himself in that situation. He put himself in that situation. And like you said, Ocho, but here's the thing, Ocho. And his dad was a professional athlete. The one thing about athletes is that we don't think it's going to happen to us. We're invincible.
Well, it's already happened twice. So you can't be thinking like that. It's already happened twice. You think you're invincible based on the situation and the circumstance that you're in now. My son's Pat Mahomes. Wherever I am, if someone does stop me, you know what? It'll be a slap on the wrist. Listen here, Mr. Mahomes Sr., you can't be out here driving like that. Okay, they let you go. You can get away with a lot of things based on who your son is right now. But You run into that one officer.
Right.
You run into that one officer who wants that credit, who wants to be, the talk of the town in the department. But you're the one that they looking for that. But again, there's a problem that he might have, but there's a solution to it.
Yeah. Get sloppy drunk. Hey, your son. Look here. If my dad was a was an alcoholic, but had he been alive to see me and my brother play, he could. I'd have tried to get him help, but if he couldn't, hey, Dad, there's a car. You don't drive. You got a car, but don't you drive? Because I'm a spitting image of my dad. I look just like my dad. But and I'm gonna have somebody with him. Now I'm gonna fire your ass if you let my daddy get behind the wheel. Your responsibility is to make sure he gets to and from. You driving.
Right. Well, listen, the funny thing is I have a little experience when it comes to having a parent that likes to drink, that loves to drink. Obviously on my end, it wasn't, she didn't like to drink and drive at the same time, but she would drink and it would affect our relationship. So, you asked me earlier, was your mom at the Super Bowl? Well, hell, it was hard to deal with her and be around her more than goddamn 2 or 3 goddamn hours because of her consumption of alcohol. And for those that don't know, we did, matter of fact, just to give a small glimpse of, you never met my mama. I think the world got a chance to see who she was and see what I had to deal with. My mama and she was an alcoholic. She drunk a lot, drunk a lot, to the point where my grandma raised me for that specific reason. Obviously, I can tell y'all because we all family, the drug use, the alcohol, and abusing it. So my grandma was like, listen, you leaving this little boy here with me, and you can go ahead and my mom moved off to LA. That's how I ended up in Santa Monica. Okay, back to the story. So dealing with her is she would always consume alcohol, and this might be one of the reasons why I've never drank. She would always consume alcohol, and then she would become someone I didn't even know. She would become someone I didn't even know, and I couldn't quite understand, why are you always angry? You can't be angry at me because I didn't do anything wrong. But then my grandma always having to explain to me, baby, this is what happens when she drinks, boom, along with other things. So I kind of empathize in a sense with Pat because I was still able to play, regardless of what was going on in my personal life and dealing with her. So it's like, it's crazy. And one of the reasons she got the name Hurricane Paula, because when she does consume alcohol, she becomes just that. It's a hurricane. It's a hurricane. And we had a funny thing with friends of mine throughout the years. You're really not a friend of mine, or you ain't been around long enough if you haven't been cursed out by my mama. If you ain't been cursed out by mama, you aren't really a friend of mine because you ain't been around long enough. My kids got it. I got it. Anybody I dated got it. My coaches got it. My friends got it. Everybody. My teachers got it. Everybody. And it was hard to even have her around important events because
you didn't know she was going to show up drunk, inebriated or not.
Well, boy, listen, my mama and I wanted to help my mama the same way I'm sure Pat wants to help his dad. So I said, you know what? The opportunity presented itself where not only we can make a little money, I can get you some change, but we're going to go on a show with some doctors. We did marriage boot camp. And Chad, if you haven't seen Marriage Boot Camp Family Edition between me and my mom, watch that when you get some time and you'll understand who she really was. Because, most of the time you have family members go on camera and they put on and be someone that they're not. They put on their representative because the world is watching. Me and my mom went on that show. The whole point was to try to mend our relationship and find a way to make things work and figure out what's wrong with her past. They offered places she can go. They offered rehab. Every morning she woke up, what's the first thing you think she went and got?
Something to drink.
Something to drink. And they purposely allowed her to drink and drink and drink. And man, that woman stole the show. That woman stole the show. And obviously I let people that want to go back and watch it and see who Hurricane Paula was, cussed everybody out on the show, cussed out the producers, cussed out the castmates. And we didn't end up finishing the show because she cussed everybody out. She cussed everybody out and left the show before it ended. And from that point on, with me trying to help, there was really nothing I could do because she wasn't even trying to help herself. And my mama passed. She just passed in 2021. What'd you think she died from, Mom?
Probably scoliosis. Cirrhosis, not scoliosis, cirrhosis.
Alcohol poisoning. alcohol poisoning. And so that's just the story with Pat, and it kind of resonates with me in a sense, not to the sense of her getting in trouble and arrested, but dealing with someone who likes to consume alcohol, and there's really no way to control it, even when you try to get him help him. They just
Yeah, I
won't
don't
listen.
understand why people like giving up control like that, Ocho. I mean, I think for us, especially like me, I got to be in control. I don't like, there's only, I can only say there's been one time that I kind of lost control, but I was able to
Right.
regain it, and that was the Lakers situation at that game. But I don't like being out of control, Ocho.
Right. Oh, you think
I was
you
blacked
was
out. Yeah, I'm glad that
you were
no, I
drinking?
wouldn't drink. Hell no. Nah.
Oh, so you
Yeah, I
were
was
good.
good.
You
Yeah,
was good.
yeah. No, I
Okay,
wouldn't.
okay,
No, no,
okay,
no, no,
okay.
no. That's one of the reasons. I think because my father was an alcoholic also, and he
Right.
ended up having both jawbones removed. Ended up having he ended up dying at when I was 13 years of age, and
Damn.
I saw him once to actually know who I was looking at. I saw him when I was in, I think the kindergarten, first grade. I saw him in first grade.
Right.
And the next time I saw him, he didn't know I was looking at him. His face was like a looking glass.
Right.
I was just looking down and staring at him, and he didn't look nothing like the man that I remember seeing all those years ago.
Right.
But that's what the drinking had done to him. That's what the surgery of having both of his jawbones removed, and why he didn't want to come, because he told my grandma Charlie, that he didn't want his kids to see him in this kind of condition.
See him like that? Okay.
But what he didn't realize, I just wanted to see my father. It wasn't the conditions, it was the man that I wanted to see. And what I would give to have, if I could just have him and my grandfather, Barney Porter, the one that raised me, and him just to see what me and my brother became just for one day. Yeah, I would love to see years and years, but just for one day to see what me and my brother became. That would probably be, that would top any day Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame, this, for them to see that. Because I remember my grandfather and my grandmother was happy, because remember I told you, Ocho, my grandfather and grandmother didn't sleep in the same bed. My grandfather and my brother slept over here, and me and my grandmother slept over there. And they was having a conversation. And they thought we were all, I was asleep. I wasn't. This had to be about 2:00 in the morning. We didn't have a clock in the room, so I couldn't tell you. But I'm assuming it's probably around 2:00 in the morning. And I remember him saying so vividly, he said, Mary, he said, I might be dead and gone, but them boys gonna make something. He said, they're so smart. They so attentive. They don't give us no back talk. They don't talk back. I'm thinking to myself, man, do you understand the punishment and the wrath that would rain down if we're afraid to talk back? But he said, he said that young one, he said, Mary, that boy remember everything. He because we was our grandfather's notepad. Because back then, Ocho, ain't nobody had no cell phone. So somebody told you their number, you just had to remember it. My grandfather, somebody would tell my grandfather, oh, hey, Barney, I got a new number, or I got a phone, because everybody at the time didn't have phone. Hey, Barney, I got a number, I got a new phone, I got a phone. Hey, tell it to them boys. So it was me and my brother's job to remember the phone number. And I just remember that, and that stuck with me. Here I am, 5, 6 years of age, and he could project into the future 25 years later that them two boys gonna make something. Man, that made me so proud to hear him say that as I'm playing in high school, as I'm playing in college, and I'm playing in the NFL, and I'm thinking back, my grandfather saw this. And so to have my dad, my actual dad, and my grandfather, if only for one day, to see what I became, even if they don't see me play football, but just see the man that I became, because I named my son after my dad. But man, Ocho, that was, my grandparents didn't. I remember my grandfather got stopped by the state trooper. My grandfather was probably driving 120. So, guy said license, registration, insurance. My grandfather reached in the glove box, handed it to him. He said, Mr. Porter. He said, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, you been drinking? My grandfather said, yeah. About 40 years ago. Boy, that's before your time, right? He said, yeah, it was, Mr. Porter. He said, okay, now I'm going to need you to slow it down. He said, okay. But I think my grandmother said that's why, they started having kids and they stopped drinking. And obviously they drank communion, but we never had alcohol in the house.
Right.
But I just would want my grandfather and my dad to see what me and my brother became. Yeah. That's it.
You know what? That's dope. And I've never thought about it like that, because my mom was around to see all of my success. I would love for her to see how far I've come after falling, off that mountaintop, and the climb that I'm making to get back to where I fell from. But I would love to see what our relationship would have been like if she hadn't consumed alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for you to be at every event
Yes.
I had. I would love for you to be at games. I would love for you to be at red carpet stuff. I would love for you to travel. I would love for you to go to Pro Bowl. Listen, the games she did go to, she got into it with people.
Oh man.
Damn,
Ocho.
The red carpet stuff that I did take her to, I got to get this drink before I put my clothes on. She embarrassed me. So every time I would try to bring her around those events where your mother's supposed to be present as a reason on why you here, as an example of, listen, I done made you proud. I need you front and center. In all those instances, what did she do? Cuss somebody out, put her hands on somebody. And these are times where these were suable offenses that she's done, and people kind of understood based on, okay, you know what? I don't think that's really her. I think the fact that she has consumed alcohol, because we can smell it, along with other things, but I'm not gonna go there. There's no point for that. But I got off a lot. And I think that's probably why I've never had alcohol before. And a lot of people don't believe me. A lot of people, perception, when you
a person's reception is their reality, Ocho.
What? Oh, yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's the truth.
You think I'm wild. Yeah, no. People think I'm wild. They think I club because they let that on-field persona that I put on, but that wasn't but a character. I'm nothing like that. Nothing like that. But that's enough of that before I start crying.